artificial.
But you believe these things are real? They are really existing? A lot of these experiences are subjectively real, or do you think they are sometimes objectively real as well?
For somebody, they can seem to be positive. Things are lining up, that the universe is sort of, caring about them and is guiding them. And sometimes it seems that the coincidences are kind of closing in, and you feel sort of surrounded, and suddenly it starts making sense that you're, in some sense, persecuted and so on.
This is very similar. My experience in those altered states is that the synchronicities come thick and fast, and in a way stop being remarkable. You get used to the fact that the right person comes along at the right time, or the right things happens at the right time. But that, in my experience, can be quite overwhelming, and can be quite destabilizing, because you can start seeing meaning maybe when there isn't. Like, you get so used to coincidences that you take everything as a synchronicity when maybe it isn't. It's quite easy to lose. My experience, it's very easy to lose one's bearings in that space.
Well, this was the discovery of Jung, who became aware of the fact that there are very, very unusual coincidences that can happen in life. And
relevant again in the context of sex dolls and all that. And that point, the uncanny valley, as they call it, which is a point where it looks like a human's not quite there, and it makes people uncomfortable. But that's another. But in relation to Freud, when you look at Freud, for example, one thing that Freud and Jung shared in common. This is an odd thing, but when I was looking at Rome, they were both very afraid to go to Rome. They had a phobia of going to Rome. It's quite interesting. When I was looking at, it was an odd thing that came up. So Sigmund Freud wasn't always practicing what he preached, and my sympathies would be certainly towards the Jungian perspective. In that, I don't think
much more open to the mystical,
mystical, able to see, for example, that animan, animus, feminine, masculine in everybody, that different, and that's another point, that in relation to the history of mysticism, women have played a profound role. So despite exclusion in other contexts, they've often led the way in the context of mysticism, and probably been persecuted as well, as were the male mystics. But it's an interesting.
Well, and amongst male mystics,